Just before we get back to that conversation, let me quickly go through some of the things that people are saying on Twitter this morning. One of them is saying that there's this individual, Stoba Ash. It says, all the committee reports so far, what have happened to them? Ask Mr. Okologu. Okologu. Yeah, he didn't get the spelling right, but I know who he's referring to. Yeah. He is saying that all the committee reports we've had in the past, what has happened to them?
But certainly that is why we want to right the wrongs of the past. We know one thing I must accept and I must acknowledge is that most times the committees are set up and recommendations are made. We don't see a government white paper implementing those recommendations. There is no doubt about that. But the fact that we have said that we're looking forward, we shouldn't look at the past. Certainly, by 2015, we would have evolved into 5 years from the 2020 that we had always said is the Millennium Development Goal objective.
Vision 2020.
Which was what we're saying, Vision 2020. And it is important that the reports that would come up, it is for Nigerians like us to keep the agitation. If the agitation is kept, the reports that would come out from this national dialogue will certainly have to be implemented by Mr. President. Even if it comes by way of executive bill, that he would send it to the House of Assembly, then from the House of Assembly to referendum, but something has to be done. Because we just cannot expend resources anymore on this kind of project without bringing it to fruition. And the Mr. President, at least, that we have seen, I don't think he's going to embark on this mission without completing it from the perspective I see it. Yeah.
Sorry, let me put this to Mr. Shango, because this is a point that is raised by Alkali Mammon. He's saying that it's high time Nigerians should think positively. What distraction is this dialogue causing as far as you're concerned? And that question I'll put to you. Why would you say this is a distraction? Can you possibly think positively and not look at it as a distraction?
Well, I mean, you have to look at the pedigree of people putting this thing up. And when you look at their pedigree, there's nothing that can convince any reasonable person that something new is coming out of it. Billions of dollars we are realizing annually. Can anybody point to the masses where that has been invested? Of course, you have more big cars in Nigeria, even with no roads and stuff like that. But apart from that, what has the masses got to show for all of this? I mean, they say, the English used to say that once beaten, twice shy. In Nigeria's situation, we have been meeting not only once, 3 times. Abacha did constitutional conference. Obasanjo did one, and Jonathan is now doing one. What is there to suggest that something new is in the ground? And there is another African proverb. They say, if I promise to borrow you garments, you will have to look at the type I'm wearing myself. What are these people, what have they got to offer? The PDP, the APC, and all of them, what have they got to offer? What is on ground? They've been in government for over 14 years. Military or no military, they have been in government for the past 14 years. Derivation used to be, I mean, the derivation portion of the budget before the new dispensation used to be 1%. The Delta man can contradict me. Now it's 30%. What has that? And we were told they set up Niger Delta Development something NDDC. That NDDC that is to fast drive development in the Niger Delta. What are all these apparatus added? Just yesterday we heard that a minister, bought 2 bulletproof limousines or whatever, costing some 137 million. Human vanity.
To correct you, I've just seen an email from the NCAA saying that it was not bought by the minister or for the minister.
Okay,
But
who
it
is
was bought by the NCAA because they have a duty and responsibility, which is world standard, and that duty is to ensure whenever someone from IETA or any other international organization come, they must make sure that they're well protected, and that's why they bought those
Who is after
people.
them?
Well, you know the issue of Boko Haram, you know the number of issue of kidnapping.
So Governor Boko Haram now will be entitled to spend 400 million naira to buy bulletproof cars.
Well, that's the explanation.
No,
I don't know. I can't hold brief for them.
It's absurd.
But,
I beg your pardon. Mr. Dusola, what would you say to those who would say that we can use the conference of Abacha's time and the conference of Obasanjo's time as a basis, that we can use that to work and we don't need to call another conference?
Well, I believe that if you want me to lend the support to this dialogue, the times of Abacha, the times of Obasanjo are different from this time.
Okay.
Number one,
That is the reason why we need to talk now.
there is increased population,
Okay.
there's increased unemployment, there's increased level of poverty,
Insecurity.
there's increased insecurity,
Okay.
and everything is increased.
Enough said.
Even the death toll.
Okay. The times are different.
They're different.
So we need to talk all over again.
Okay. May I also ask you this question? This one is from Olaoluwa Oladeyin on Twitter. He says the 1999 Constitution was a military decree, not the will of the people, and it's being mentioned here. Nigeria needs this conference to know the way forward. And I know you mentioned something along the lines of the birthing of the baby. Once you've got the baby, you cannot, what was your choice of word now?
Abort.
Cannot abort the baby. So how do you merge the two to ensure that the baby's birth is one that you want, so that you don't need to begin to think you wish you had done the abortion?
It is true that the 1999 Constitution, it's not the people's constitution. However, the ground norm to that Constitution says the people, we the people, having solely resolved,
Which is a lie.
whether it is a lie or not, that is what is existing now.
So
And in that Constitution,
wish that it was aborted then,
there are
which it cannot
which
be
it
aborted
cannot
now.
now.
It cannot be aborted.
So what can only be done now to the baby is either
The baby.
fix the baby
Or
or commit murder.
kill it.
And the only way we can do that is also enshrined in the Constitution, that an act to alter this Constitution shall only be carried out or passed by both houses in the National Assembly, 2/3 majority. Thereafter, 2/3 of all states' House of Assembly.
Houses of assembly.
The intention, I believe so to say, was those who wrote the Constitution then had believed that Nigerians would be able to elect, underline or capitalize that word elect, through representatives. The only way we can achieve that, again, instead of wasting money for this national dialogue, is putting more effort and emphasis on the national identity by Mr. President. When there is a proper census, fake people would not put in representatives. We will now know who are those we really want to elect.